So you are forced to follow some patterns because that's what you know from the people you have around or wherever, your friends, your family, they are convinced that you're going to do things as they did or the way they want you to do it. So maybe what I would say to my young self is that there are so many ways of living, and the nicest way to live is to live 100 lives in one single life, and that's something that no one teach you.
Welcome to the Travel Not to Escape podcast. I'm your host, Jolene on the Go, solo female traveler and creative entrepreneur. Think of me as your skydive instructor, empowering you to take the leap into solo travel to push past your fears and transform your life. Join me every Tuesday as we explore the world of solo travel with purpose and discover how you can use it for your personal transformation, learn how to make meaningful connections around the world, and reignite your spirit of play. We aren't just talking about traveling to find ourselves anymore. We're all about doing the work to understand who we authentically are, breaking through our limiting beliefs, and taking the leaps to manifest lives we are excited about. Through interviews, solo episodes, and meditations, each episode is packed with practical tips, strategies, and inspiring stories from guests who have transformed their lives through solo travel. Whether you're a seasoned traveler or just starting out on your journey, the Travel Not to Escape podcast is here to inspire and empower you to solo travel with purpose. Strap on your helmet. We're about to jump headfirst into the journey of a lifetime. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome, navigators, to another episode of Travel Not to Escape. Today, you're going to be meeting Marina Canalis. She is a true adventurer at heart. She's had a lifelong passion for travel, has traveled all the way from her early life to leading tours in different countries like India, Uzbekistan, in the US, and she's been to now over 70 countries. She's fluent in 9 languages, and she's really immersed herself in all these diverse cultures, having hitchhiked in places like Cuba, traveled by horseback, and she's just done such a whole host of different adventures I'm excited to dive in with her about. So join us today in our episode where Marina will share all about her life of travel, her transformation, and we're also going to be diving in to her life now as a mother and incorporating that with her travels. So welcome, Marina. Thank you, and I'm excited to have you on.
Hello, thank you. Hello. So thank you for asking me to work with you in this new episode of Travel Not to Escape. I'm so happy to be here today, even if we are a spread of several hundred kilometers,
Yes.
apparently. So yeah, nice to meet you finally.
Yes, nice to meet you. Yeah, so Marina's currently located in Barcelona. I'm currently in Bali. So, you as travelers, you just make the time zones work. And we actually got connected through Under 30 Experiences, which is a group travel tour company. And so that's how we met for because of our love of travel. Before we dive into your background and all of the fun adventures that you've had, I want to ask you a question that I ask everyone to start, and that is, what was your favorite childhood activity?
Well, I love to go to the beach. That was like my favorite thing in the world. I love to like kayak and do like snorkeling. Since I was really, really young, I snorkeled with my parents. And also, my dad used to be like a ski instructor and climbing instructor. So we used to ski a lot when I was young. So I love to ski too. But regarding playing, I love to play to be detective. So I wanted to discover all the secrets everywhere.
Yeah, so with that, you're definitely giving off explorer vibes. So there's a number of different play styles, and explorer is one of them. And all the things that you just said was all about learning something new. You named off a number of different things, exploring the world, and even the detective piece, right? Like learning something different, discovering the secrets. So I love that because it definitely still relates to, it sounds like, the life that you're living. So we're going to go circle back around on the play aspect towards the end of the episode. But with that, I want to know, let's dive into the very beginning. Can you tell me a bit about your background, where you're from, and how you started solo traveling?
Yeah, so I'm from Barcelona. So actually, I was born, well, in fact, I was born in a little town, 20 kilometers away from Barcelona. And I started to travel at a really young age. Here in Europe, it's really easy to travel around. Everything is much more closer than in the States, for example.
Yeah.
So on the weekends, you can go to France from Barcelona. It's 150 kilometers away from here. So we used to take like a roulotte, so like a kind of a caravan. How you say that? Yeah. And then go to France, for example, on the weekend, or to other countries in Europe. So this was the beginning of my trips with my family. You're on a really young age. And also, we did a lot of camping, so it was really nice to get a tent on the weekend and just go with my cousins or with friends. So this was, let's say, the beginning of everything. As a solo travel, my very, very first experience was, well, it wasn't actually a solo travel, but let's say as independent travel without my family. It was an interrail in Europe. So interrail, I don't know if you know this concept or not. It's like train ticket that allows you to travel all around Europe with this single ticket. It used to be really economic, really cheap, regarding the fact that I was like 18 years old or something like that. So I decided to take this trip, 3 weeks, and we visit so many countries in like really quick. It was more like let's visit a lot in a really short time, not that much maybe enjoying. We were eating like olives, cheese, and just water
Yeah.
because that's what the money we got for that. So it was like not really like let's say fancy trip, but this was like my first, like very first independent experience without my family traveling abroad. And then as solo traveler, yeah, I was planning for a long time, a long trip to go by myself. Yeah, I traveled for a year and a half by myself in different countries. I started in Southeast Asia. I actually started in Indonesia, where you are right now. So when you said you were in
Oh,
Bali,
yeah.
my first stop was near Bali in a little island beside Bali. So yeah, that's there my first solo travel
Which
experience.
island?
It was called, wait. Tell me the names of the islands around Bali. I
Oh,
have it there.
like the small ones like Nusa Limbongan, Nusa
I'll tell you now.
Penida.
Just give me a second. Lombok.
Lombok. Okay,
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I haven't made my way over there yet, but I've heard
Yeah.
amazing things. What age did you go to Lombok?
No, I was 26 when I did it by myself because so my very first experience living abroad by myself, I was 19. Here it's really common when you are at university, you can do an exchange like program in another university in Europe that it's called Erasmus.
Oh yeah,
And I was
I've heard
exchange
that.
student doing an Erasmus in France, and that was my very first like solo experience. But it was more like living abroad. It was like traveling, but I was living abroad. And then when I was 21, I moved to Quebec, and I also studied in Quebec. So this was a kind of a solo travel experience too. So let's say officially traveling was at 26. When I started this year and a half traveling around Southeast Asia at the beginning, but I got other experiences previously as solo, like a solo traveler, let's say.
Yeah, when you were yeah, because so Quebec, that in Canada, you also.
Yeah, Quebec City in Canada. Yeah, I studied at Laval University in Quebec City.
Ah, okay. So it sounds like you traveled a lot as a child and also had the opportunity kind of into your early adulthood to travel and study abroad. Were there any hesitations that you went through going from, traveling with others to the point where you went all the way to Southeast Asia to do it on your own?
Yeah, I remember when I was like the first night by myself in Lombok. I remember get there, be inside like let's say a kind of a hostel. It wasn't even a hostel. There was no one there. Right? There were 3 rooms. I was by myself. I was stuck inside the room, and I was like, okay, I feel like I want to eat something, but it's late at night, and I'm a little bit shy to go by myself to a restaurant and eat by myself in a table. It was like, oh, that's weird. So I remember going out, get an apple, and go inside my room. And I was like, that's the dinner for me tonight. I'm having an apple, and that's it by myself in the room because I don't want to go out by myself.
Yeah.
And then after that, the second night, I was like, are you stupid? Why you will stay in the room? You're by myself. Let's have fun. So I went out, and the first street I crossed, a girl, that's true. That girl shouted at me, like, hey, how are you? I was like, hey, I was a bit scared. Who is she? What she wants,
Yeah.
And she was so nice. She was from Finland, and she was traveling by herself. And she was with a group of 15 other girls traveling by themselves solo. And they were like,
Wow.
all having dinner, and they showed me walking by myself. They saw it walking by myself, and they were like, okay, she looks like lost and she has no one. So they invited me to have dinner. So my second night by myself as solo traveler, female solo traveler, I was sharing a table with 15 other solo travelers. Were all girls traveling by themselves. So it was so fun.
That's
Like the
amazing.
first night, compare the first night with an apple by myself in the room, like, and the second night I was just there. So since there, I wasn't scared anymore. I just went out and have fun.
How did you end up meeting other people? You know, this one sounded like the universe kind of just sent them all to you.
Yeah.
But then after that, did you continue hanging out with them? Did you how did you find your path in making connections while you were
I mean,
solo?
I think that hostels, it's a concept. I know the States has a really nice name to travel in a hostel. It's not maybe something that you would say to your friend, yeah, I'm going to a hostel. I'm not sure which is like, let's say, the appearance of the hostels or what comes to the mind of the people when you say you go to a hostel. But here in Europe, to go to a hostel, it's something really common. And the hostels can be even more fancy than a boutique hotel or a really fancy hotel. You know, there are hostels that are they have a spas in it and you have like really nice places to stay. So I love to travel going to hostels because it's the best opportunity to meet people. At some point, if you're open to talk people, sometimes if you feel like you want to be yourself, it gets a little bit difficult sometimes, you know, because you get into the hostel and as soon as you cross your eyes with someone else, they will start talking to you. That's something that happens. It's really common in hostels because everyone is traveling by themselves and everyone wants to know people. So sometimes it's even like difficult to be by yourself if you want to. So the best way for me to travel is to go to hostels if you go by yourself.
Yeah. And did you find that all through Southeast Asia, that was the best way that you met other people while you were around for that year and a half?
In Southeast Asia, in the hostels. That was the best way. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was the best way. I mean, if you want to meet locals, of course, in the hostel is not the best place. But if you want to meet locals, you go to the markets. You just go to a market. Markets in Southeast Asia are just crazy, or just eat in the street in a random food. Like place in the street, you sit together with the locals at the first sight. They're gonna look at you a little bit weird. What are you doing here? Especially me, I look like you cannot see now, but I'm blonde, a little bit blonde. So it depends on which country. It's complicated to be a girl blonde. But you just sit there. As soon as they realize you are not a weird person, they will start shouting at you, the local. So that's nice. That's a bad way. I always say I wish I would have been born like man and let's say brown hair, so you can like
Blend in a
it's
little bit
easier to
more.
travel around, you know. But well,
I
it's
know.
it's my joke. It's a recurring joke. I always say, oh, to travel,
I
it's always
know.
better.
It would make things a little bit easier to camouflage a little bit, but I
Yeah,
do know that there's a lot more women traveling now, and that's cool that you were able to
yeah,
meet like 15 on your second night
yeah.
traveling through Indonesia.
Uh,
And tell me about like that year and a half that you traveled solo through Southeast Asia. Like what did that look like for you? Like how did you change kind of through that whole process?
yeah. Actually, it was a year and a half, but it wasn't just Southeast Asia. I started with Southeast Asia because I thought it was an easy place to go, easy to travel around. I already had before that trip an experience in Vietnam. So I went to Vietnam with a friend and I already knew a little bit the mood of the area. So I was sure it was a good beginning, a good start to travel by myself, Southeast Asia, because I felt it was a safe area as a solo traveler. So I started with Southeast Asia, but during this year and a half, I also did other destinations. So I went to Madagascar, I went to Cape Verde, I went to Central America. So I did different areas during the trip. So let's say that at the beginning, it's it's not like you say lineal experience. It's not that all the time you go better and better. It depends on the country, it depends on the moment. You feel in one way or another. It's not that in all the experience you evolve all the time. There are ups and
Yeah.
downs in all the trip, especially if you're traveling for a long time by yourself. It's not that
Yeah.
every day you're gonna feel I don't know, happier and happier. There are days that as if you were at home, that you are happy, or days that you are too tired, or days that you just feel that you need to change of country. You don't know
Yeah.
why, but you feel that that's not the place you need to be that time. Not because the country is not nice, but it's not what you need. And also the people you meet in your trips. It's part of your trip. So if you're in a country and the people you're meeting on your way are not the type of people you need in that time, you also feel the need to change the location, the place where you are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I definitely you touched upon something that like I've been feeling as well, and I felt as I've been traveling is that like not every place is going to be like amazing and magical, but like it's something worth experiencing anyway. I think that's one definitely big lesson. And then that the importance of the connections, because that does change your experience completely. Was
yeah.
there a specific country or experience that you can think of that was maybe more challenging than the rest?
Well, for me, it you're gonna maybe make fun of me, but the most challenging thing was to go with motorbike. You know, to drive a motorbike by myself because Southeast Asia it's complicated to move around if you don't do it. Like if you, I like to travel like let's say adventure travel. I don't like to get Uber or Cabify or taxis or whatever. So what when I travel, I try to travel as locals, and in Southeast Asia, usually either you use the local buses where you have chickens inside and you're like, I don't know, sitting together, an old lady, like for 10 hours drive and you never know when you're going to get there, or either you get a motorbike by yourself, which makes a little bit like complicated, more complicated the trip. So for me, the most challenging in Southeast Asia and all these years of travels was to drive motorbikes. I've never drive a motorbike before by myself or drive a motorbike in general.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm a little bit clumsy in general in life. That's also something true. So my first experiences in that like soil that was so muddy in Southeast Asia in general, you have a lot of mud everywhere and sandy. So that was the most challenging thing. I remember being in Southeast Asia, also in Vietnam, and they told me, "Oh, you have Vietnam tattoo, Vietnam tattoo." They shouted at me, and Vietnam tattoo was
Oh.
that you got burned your leg because of the motorbike.
Oh no.
So I got the Vietnam tattoo that all the tourists got. So
Oh
yeah,
man.
let's say that the motorbikes are not the safest thing on earth in there, but they are still a nice experience to yeah to drive by
That's so funny.
yourself.
Well, so I actually have not ridden a motorbike myself either because of that same thing. Like I'm a little fearful and I'm also very clumsy, and I've gone into an accident on an ATV, so like take two more wheels away and put me on a motorbike. I don't know if that's like the best move for me, but I totally understand the challenge and the difficulty because you want that sense of freedom,
Yeah,
especially as an explorer, right?
yeah.
Like you want to be able to just like hop on and go, and the motorbike is your way. Were you able to conquer that eventually, or?
No, yeah, yeah, I was able to. I remember, especially one day that it was raining a lot, a lot, a lot. I was in the middle of a jungle. It was everything muddy everywhere, and it was the only road to go back to my hostel. And I was by myself in the middle of nowhere. And when I got to the hostel, I was like, "Oh my God! If I've survived today and I've done that by myself, I can do whatever in life, you know." So it was that
Yeah.
feeling of having achieved something big. I know now from like maybe your home, it sounds stupid, but at that moment, it was like a life changing experience for sure.
Yeah, no, that's huge to be able to conquer that, because that is a fear, and especially after you've already kind of had some injuries from it. What do you think? So you've traveled all over, it sounds like all the different continents for a while now. And
I have to
I'm
tell you that I'm
wondering,
missing Oceania, Oceania, like Australia, Oceania. I'm missing that. I'm so sad because of that. Yeah, I booked my flight tickets for Australia 4 times, and so many things happened, so I never went there. So that's my,
that's
bucket
the
list.
next.
I'm so
Wait,
sad.
so
Yeah,
have you been to Antarctica then?
I know it's true. Yeah, I'm missing Antarctica too. Yeah, yeah, you're
Good.
good.
Add it onto your list.
You're good. You're good. Yeah, that's true. Antarctica and Oceania. Oceania. Yeah, I'm very bad
Yeah.
pronouncing. I'm very badly pronouncing this
But
word.
70 countries is like no small feat. So when you traveled all over, was that all within that year and a half, or?
No, 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 no. I used to also tour guide, be tour leader for people traveling from Barcelona, like in big groups of like 50 people. They were mostly elders. So I was bringing people from Barcelona to India mainly, to Croatia, to the Emirates, so different destinations. So that I was doing that for a while. So it's also helped me to know more countries from another perspective, not just a solo
Hmm.
traveler. I also lead like event organizations, so I organize events in different countries too, like in Germany or like Italy. And then also because, as I was telling you, Europe is really really small, so especially pre-COVID, before COVID, all the flight tickets in Europe were really, really cheap. So it was really
Yeah.
easy to do all the capitals of Europe or most of the countries of Europe in being really young. So being 18 years old, you just booked a 10 euros flight to Paris and you were there, to Rome or to London, and you
Man,
could spend the
that's a
weekend
dream.
there. So yeah, it was much cheaper than staying in Barcelona. We always make fun of that, but it's true. Now it's changing because the flight tickets has rise a little bit after COVID. But before it was like, if I stayed in Barcelona for the weekend, for sure you would have like dinner with friends, some cocktails after that. Maybe the day after, you will go to the cinema, to the theater, wherever. You will go to a club, and then if you count it, you will have spent much more money than going to London to spend your weekend, because the flight
Yeah.
tickets were really cheap and the hostel too. So,
Yeah.
so that's a little bit the secret of traveling so many countries, that the conditions being where I am are like ideal for that to travel around.
Yeah, no, definitely. The EU has some cheap Ryanair flights. Gotta you
Yeah,
love them and hate them at the same time.
yeah, 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 yeah. I remember putting like three trousers at the same time to not to pay
Yeah,
the
yeah.
over, how you say that, over, like
Yeah,
weight.
overweight. Yeah.
Yeah, the overweight. Yeah.
Yeah, they're strict with that. Did you
Yeah.
ever have any concerns about safety as you were kind of traveling all over the world by yourself?
I mean, I think that you just need to use the common sense. So I never, while I was traveling by myself, I tried to never get drunk. I tried to not to go out at night by myself in places that I didn't know without getting an advice of locals before going. I love to chat to strangers, but I would say I have an extra sense to know if it's someone that you have like you can trust or not. So
Yeah, the
this is
intuition.
something that you
Yeah.
also train by yourself. I mean, while you start traveling, maybe the first time you will not be trained, but after the second people you like person you talk to, you can clearly know who they are, from where they come, and what they want from you. Because like people more or less, even if it's not like really nice to say, we follow more or less the same patterns. So you
Mhm.
can tell more or less. I mean, of course, you can have a surprise, but I mean, if you use your common sense and your instincts to know if it's safe to talk to someone or not, I don't think so. Of course, I split the money while I travel it in. I got it in so many different places. I hide all my documents, my passport, everything really well. And in general, I'm not like a crazy person that goes around showing that I'm a tourist, or at least I try to camouflage, as you say, camouflage a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, how about okay, so you had mentioned that you hitchhiked in Cuba. Was
Yes.
that particularly scary
No,
or like tell me about that experience?
I consider this was the best experience in my life traveling, because Cuba is a complicated country to travel around, for obvious reasons. The government controls really, like, it's really strict in the control of how the tourists travel around. So you have like a special buses for locals. Sorry, for locals, and a special buses for like tourists. So you cannot get into the locals bus. So that actually are not buses anyway, they are like trucks. So you go into a truck and you get in, and you have to be, you don't have like a final destination for the truck. So it's just like the random people goes in, they say where they want to go, and then the driver decides where he's going based on the people going in the truck. So it's really like, if you have time to travel around, that's a crazy experience. So what I was trying this trip, this specific trip, I haven't done it by myself. I did it with a friend, and our idea was to avoid all the touristic places that we were supposed to visit as tourists, because the government said that we needed to go there. So we
Yeah.
tried to escape that. So what we did is, we first arrived to the country, and we asked where was the truck stop, and they were looking at us, are you crazy, you're gonna go with these tracks? And we were like, yeah, I try. Basically in the tracks, you're standing up, or you're sitting in an iron, how you say that, like an iron bench, and that's it for 15 hours, you never know.
Oh my god.
and maybe the truck stops and you're in the middle of nowhere and you need to wait till they repair it, and maybe it takes 3 hours to repair and you're there chatting with people on that day. So basically we went there, we went to the truck, and then we started to travel with the trucks. And of course, I got like these glasses but in blue, the one that I'm wearing now. I have glasses. Oh, you cannot see me, so I have red glasses. I was wearing blue glasses, and these type of glasses weren't available in Cuba, so it was easy to know that I was a tourist.
Mm,
So
yeah.
the truck drivers were asking me to take off my glasses when we passed by the police stations or
Oh,
the military like controls, so they didn't know that I was traveling as a tourist, even if it was quite obvious. But they were trying to avoid that, so I was taking my glasses off. Basically, that was a way to travel around. And then hitchhiking was a great experience because unfortunately Cuba, they don't have that much, let's say, nice cars to go around. So my hitchhiking was basically chariots, like horse
oh,
chariot, and also like big trucks that were transporting goods around the island. So I
oh
was back
wow,
in the back part of the truck with whatever they were transporting. So it was an amazing experience. Yeah, to know the culture. So I mean, if you're looking to travel, I always say you can decide if you want to travel as a tourist or if you want to discover the country. And discover the country doesn't mean to see nice things. It means discover the country. It's something different. So maybe you're not going to have like the nicest pictures for your Instagram or your social media, but maybe you're gonna have the most life-changing chat in your life with a random, I don't know,
like
whatever
bus
mark.
driver or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that I did in Cuba with the
That's
hitchhiking, not
amazing.
trying to see like the famous touristic places, but discovering the
Yeah.
life of locals.
And what's driven you as you've traveled to all these countries? Has it been something that like is it just that explorer energy of getting to know country really in depth, or yeah, what was the reason you went to so many?
Yeah. I think it's something that you have with you. I mean, if you tell me you know that next month you're gonna be in this same house, living in the same place, doing the same job, and living with the same people and meeting the same people every day, then probably I would start crying now. So I love not to know where I'm gonna be living in a month. So I try to move a lot. I have a baby daughter. She's 2 years old. Well, she's turning 2 years old at the end of this month of November,
Oh
and since she was born, we've moved 13 times of house. Like we've
oh,
moved
wow.
13 times. I know that for a lot of people it's like, oh, you're crazy, but for me it's a way of living. It's what you pick as a life.
Mhm.
So exploring and visiting countries, I'm not doing it to say, yeah, I've been to 72, no, 74, no, me more. I've been in 120 countries. No, that's not the point for me. It just to keep exploring. I always say, if you go to a supermarket near your house, it's not the same if you go to a supermarket in Norway. So I love to find the amazing things in the regular nowadays things. So that's why I love to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that you've been able to continue that with your family now as well, with your daughter. You had mentioned you had taken her to some countries as well, and isn't even two yet. Can you describe what that transition was like going from more on your own traveling to now traveling with a family?
Yeah. Like let's say that I never felt that instinct of becoming a mother, if I tell you the truth. There's a lot of people that says, "Yeah, I felt the instinct. I always wanted to be a mother." That's not my case. I became mother because my husband wanted to be a father and I love him, so
Mhm.
I was like, "Okay, let's have a baby together." But my biggest fear was that the fact that becoming a mother could change my way of living because
Mhm.
I was tour guide. I was used to be 15 days in a row abroad from our place, traveling around, and I was so scared that having a baby could change this life. Of course, it changed it slightly. But the thing is that if you have it clear and you don't listen that much to the other people, you still can't travel. The thing is that you don't have to be scared. The kids, like babies, they can adapt. But I mean, as they are not cold, That's it, and you feed them.
Yeah.
That's it. I was doing breastfeeding, which also helped a lot at the beginning, if I tell you the truth, because when you travel around with a baby, if you have to be like looking for food or for a microwave or whatever to warm the bottle for the baby, then it gets maybe a little bit more complicated, let's say. But breastfeeding helped me a lot, because anywhere in the world, I was at an airport, I just gave her food and she was good.
Yeah.
So it's something that helped. So this was a thing I was more scared about, but actually having it really clear when she was born, I knew that when she would turn 25 days, we would be leaving the country. So I bought the tickets as soon as she was born, the day after she was born, because I need to know the date when she was born to buy the tickets. If not,
Yeah.
I would have done
Yeah.
it previously in advance. Like before she was born, I was looking for tickets,
Yeah.
and I knew which ticket I wanted, but I needed the birth date to buy the tickets.
Yeah.
So when I got the birth date, the day after she was born, I bought the tickets to go to Argentina. So we flew from Barcelona to Argentina when she was 25 days. Yeah, old.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. You're like you're ruining my travel planning. You gotta come out so I can book this trip.
It was a little bit like that,
Yeah,
but
there's a direct flight from Argentina or from Barcelona to Argentina, right?
direct flights. Yeah, we have a direct flight, but if I tell you the truth, it was so expensive that I did two stopover flights to Argentina. So I
Mm.
stopped in London and then I stopped in Chile and then I arrived to Buenos Aires. So basically, I had to do three planes with the baby that was 25 days old.
Oh man. Yeah, how was
And
that
then
experience?
actually, she slept all the planes, so it wasn't that bad. I think that if I have to do it again now, that such a long trip would be much more complicated because she moves around now. But when she was like 25 days, it was like traveling with an extra bag, so it wasn't that big deal.
So
Yeah.
get your travel in before they turn 2. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You have to travel a lot since she's born. And also, you start paying extra when they turn 2 years old. So I need to take advantage of these last 3 weeks that I have before she turns two.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Otherwise, she starts getting more expensive as a travel
Yep.
companion. How else has your outlook changed? Has your mindset changed at all as you've been traveling now as a mom? Is there any difference that you've felt in within you?
Of course, you cannot travel anymore to hostels, or if you travel to hostels, you need a private room now. So that's something you need to take into consideration. But the rest, if I tell you the truth, it hasn't changed that much for me. It's true that you don't have these moments to rest, let's say. If you want a day to rest, you don't have it. That's true. But you don't have it anyway if you stay at home. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But yes, you need, I mean, it depends on how confident you are, self-confident you are, or how you trust, let's say, the destiny. So I don't like to plan that much, and I never like to try to like to plan that much. So if I go to a destination, maybe I book the couple first night and then I book when I'm there, so to see what I'm going to do or whatever. I don't want to plan in advance. I don't like it because maybe you meet someone interesting and then your plan change and you book a trip or a tour or whatever and you are not able to do it, and um, it's complicated. No, that's why I don't do it. With babies, a lot of people says, okay, if I travel with my kids, I need to have everything planned because I want to know exactly what I want to do to control. For me, it's not like that. It's even the reverse. I need to be even more flexible. So I want to know
Mm,
less about what I want to do because maybe that day she wake up and she's coughing or I don't know, she's sick. So I won't be able to do what I plan to do. So I have to change and accommodate to her needs. So basically, that's what had changed. I'm even more flexible than before,
yeah.
and I try to plan even less than before since she's here and we travel together.
And do you travel to like do you do different types of activities like as you said you don't do the hostels anymore, you have to do private rooms, but it sounds like you did a lot of adventure travel in the past. Have you
Yeah.
pivoted that now?
One of the things that I'm let's say I'm an ambassador, or I try to be an ambassador of why they are activities that are supposed to be for kids and are activities that are supposed to be for adults. Of course, I will not give her alcohol to drink. I'm not talking about that. But what I mean is like, okay, why we are not supposed to make her travel with us in a truck, in a backpack of a truck. For example, when she was 2 months, we were in Uruguay, and we were going to Cabo Polonio, which is like a natural park, a desert, like a kind of a, let's say, desertic area, and you have to get there in a national park with big trucks that they go in the sand, and there's the wind and everything there. So we just covered her, and she came with us in the truck. It wasn't the only way to go there, and she was like less than 2 months, you know. So we were like, we are going there, and she's coming with us. The only thing we need to do is to be sure that she's okay on that trip.
Yeah.
So I hate this type of like trips that you're supposed to be doing kids things, because at the end, I tell you something, okay? I'm really weird too. I hate like the people love like the videos of puppies. I don't like Disney films, Disneyland, all these kind of things are related. So all these kind of things that are supposed to be for kids, like concert just for kids, like music for kids, theater for kids, films for kids. I'm like, I'm going to a concert. That's the type of music I like. She's coming with us, and that's
Yeah.
it. And she will enjoy the music. I mean, it's not music for kids, but she's a daughter, right? I mean,
Yeah.
she's a young child. She's not stupid. I mean,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, we are not readapting the activities we do with. We try to, of course, that she feels good, but we are going to places we like to go, and she's enjoying it. If I tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And once, the only time we tried to adapt to her, we were going to a show that was special for kids in the Opera of Barcelona. Okay, that's the
Oh.
only time. When we went there, it was a special concert opera for kids. We had to leave the place after paying 40 euros for the ticket entrance after 5 minutes because she was scared of the show that was supposed to be for kids. So she started to cry, and this happens 2 months ago. So we were like, okay, first time we tried to do something for kids and it didn't work. So we are not doing things for kids anymore, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it was a sign. It was a sign, like, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's it. It's a sign. It's the first time and the last time we adapt our plans for like kids thing.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that that's amazing because, I have a best friend as well, and that's her same motto. She's like, "The kid is joining us in our lives, and you need to make sure that you yourself are still happy and living the life that you want, and the kid is seeing that, seeing you guys be happy, because then if you're adapting your life to a child constantly, then, you're not really being true to you." So I love that, you're keeping true to yourself, true to your relationship, and allowing your child to see that and partake in it, rather than bending backwards. So really cool to see that you're still traveling, still doing all of the things that light you up. And then were there ever moments kind of as you were traveling, like were there any challenges that you can pinpoint that were maybe like more testing you in the travel with family, or was it ones that you could handle?
No, I would say, I mean, I would say you can handle everything.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, you
But
know
was there
why?
something, like, unexpected?
Of traveling with her or
Mhm.
traveling with family or with kids.
Mhm.
By the moment, yes, but you should do the interview again in 5 years, and then I will tell you how it's going then.
Yeah.
So let's meet. I'm gonna take note of the day today. So
Yes.
today it's 14 November.
November
This is
14th.
Travel Not to Escape, and we're gonna be meeting back in it's 2023. Yeah, so let's talk in 2028. Yeah, let's meet in 2028. Yeah, deal, and then we retake the conversation again.
Yes. That's that's perfect. Yeah, I think right now is definitely it's different, right? The first 2 years, and then
Yeah.
life changes, things change,
Yeah.
but I love the spirit that you're going into it with.
I mean, anyway, yeah, let's go. It was challenging because she learned to walk in Vienna, in
Oh.
Austria. So we were traveling wintertime and we wanted to teach her walk. And the coincidence was that we were in Vienna when she started to walk. And it was snowing, which is something that we are not used to in Spain. I mean, of course, it snows in the Pyrenees and we ski here, but not in Barcelona, let's say. So she learned to walk on the snow. The first steps she did, they were in the snow. So it was a challenge for us, that for sure. So let's say this was challenging thing and a nice
But the snow
anecdote
breaks
for
her
me.
fall at least.
Yeah, that's it. So you have a good excuse. Yeah, she's falling because of the ice and the snow, not because she's
Yeah,
practicing to walk.
yeah, exactly. That's amazing though, because now she gets to have all these experiences that are very unique. So not only is she growing up and having these like first steps, first words, right? Like she's doing that with another layer of doing that in a different country. So you're raising a child that is probably going to be as adventurous as you are, which is
Let's
amazing
see,
to
either that
involve
or
them.
she doesn't want to travel anymore in her whole life and she just stays in one place forever. It's one or
It's
the
one or the
other.
other.
It's one or the other. That's it.
but but you know what? At least you try. You know,
That's
you
it.
keep your life
Yeah,
as you raise her.
yeah. We want to try to teach her, and then she will get what she wants to get of all the experience we try to offer her.
Do you foresee, I guess, the pace of your life being somewhat similar of traveling? Actually, what's the frequency that you all travel right now?
We were supposed to travel this month. This month, my husband has holidays planned. Days off now. I'm working remote, so I have more time for me to travel. So this
Hmm.
month we were supposed to travel 3 times. We were planning to go to Madrid, so it's close. To Barcelona. We were planning to go to France, where I did my first like exchange student Erasmus program because I wanted to show the place to my
Uh,
husband. I
yeah,
haven't been there for 12 years now, so I'm a bit scared of what I want to find like
yeah.
compared to what I remember. And then we were planning to go to Venice tomorrow. So we will. We've been there for several times, not without not with our baby. So we want to go to Venice. We're planning to go tomorrow. I'm not sure if we're gonna be. We are traveling every month 3 times, but we try to travel as much as possible.
And do you typically travel all three of you, or do you still do like couple travel? Do you solo travel?
By the moment we are traveling the three of us because that's the more like comfortable for us. Of course, regarding my job, I'll have to travel by myself again soon. But by the moment, I'm just guiding locally, so I don't have to travel that much abroad by myself. But it's something we are planning to, and we know that we're gonna do in, let's say, midterm,
Hmm.
short midterm, because yeah, because we have to retake our life before she existed. But by the moment we're traveling, the three of us, yeah.
And do you find that as you're making connections now, do you try to make connections with other families, with people with kids, or do you just whoever you meet and you connect with?
I'm a little bit strange. I'm a strange. I accept it.
Strange is
I
great.
try to avoid mothers in general. Yeah, if I tell you the truth, I try to avoid mothers. Because if you start talking with mothers, you end up talking of the same subjects all the time.
Yeah.
So I love to travel with people. I to talk with people that have other experiences, or if they are parents, that they are parents of the same with the same mentality as mine. So the kids are there to adapt to our life, not to be the central of everything, and we have to change everything around them. Or so basically, yeah, I try to talk to a lot of people that are not parents nowadays because I have enough, like let's say, parents things in my life now. So yeah, so yes, that's the thing. It's true that I've tried to travel with friends with my daughter, and they are a little bit scared of traveling with a baby that it's not their baby, you know. This Let's say that this is a problem that you can face if you are a new parent and your friends are not parents yet. So
Hmm.
you are becoming a new parent, or you have your own new family, and then you want to keep traveling with the same people you used to travel, and then you can see in their faces that they are a little bit scared of traveling with you and your baby. So yeah, that's maybe a problem, let's say, that you can face. But I say that this is natural selection. It's like Darwin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's natural selection. The ones that they will stick to you, even if you are parent or mother or whatever, they
They're the
will
ones that
stick. And
stay
the
close to them.
others, well, you wanna retake the friendship maybe later on or
Yeah.
never again. You never know. But
Yeah.
part of the life, you know.
Exactly. It is part of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends are there for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. I think that's the
Yeah.
saying.
I like the idea.
Yeah. And so now that you have your daughter, what ways do you guys play together in terms of like childhood activities that you all do together?
Okay, we try to get like my husband. He's a photographer, so we try to go out to take pictures a lot. She has her own like boot camera, so she practices around.
Fun.
It's my sister-in-law that did it by herself. So she did the like the boot camera. It's really cute. So she always loved to go around, take pictures. We go into the boots. We're really close to the forest here in my house, in our home nowadays. So we go out into boots and she walks around, take pictures with uh, her dad. So that's something she loves to do. Now that it's autumn here, and summertime, of course, going to the beach. We go together to the beach, and she loves water. So I think it's the first word she learned to say, like water, pointing out the
Water.
water of the beach. So that's funny.
That's cool. Yeah, it's interesting to see how you incorporate your play styles together, and then also for now for your next generation too.
Mm.
And thank you so much for this conversation. I've had a really fun time just getting to know you and getting to know yeah your way of travel and how you're doing that still. It's very empowering, I think, as well because as a full time traveler myself, that's been one of my fears is is that something that is in the future? How can that change my life? And it sounds like it only changes your life if you let it, and you can still.
That's it. That's true. Yeah. There's no one telling you what you need to do. It's you that you have to decide. So
Yeah, so if you want to.
as far as you are convinced with what you want to do in life, there's no one changing that. Someone changes your mind.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That's very empowering words because yeah, we all feel like we have to fit into a path or a bubble or a mold that someone else has created, and it's like, no, no, you can do it like this, and it's completely fine as long as you're happy, as long as you're healthy, you're not hurting anyone, and you're living your life, and that's an amazing thing. Couple last moments, questions for you. What is one question that you wish you would have asked your younger self sooner?
I remember that at some point you're forced to follow some patterns. That's what we were talking about, yeah? So you are forced to follow some patterns because that's what you know from the people you have around or whatever, your friends, your family, they are convinced that you're gonna do things as they did or the way they want you to do it, you know? So maybe what I would say to my young self is that there are so many ways of living and the nicest way to live is to live 100 lives in one single life, and that's something that no one teach you. So that would be the quest or whatever the tip I would give to my younger me. Just live 100 lives in one life and don't care about the others or what the other says or the patterns that you have around you, because this took me a long while to understand, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a lesson we learned the hard way and the long way
Yeah.
as well. And what is one tip you would give other women who are considering solo traveling for the first time, but they might be a little bit hesitant to start? What advice would you give them?
I would say stop. That's something bad for you, but I would say stop listening to podcasts, stop reading Lonely Planet, stop reading travel blogs, stop asking for recommendations, stop reading safety recommendations from the government, and just buy flight tickets and go. And then you will discover if it's good for you, if it's not good for you, if you feel comfortable, if not. And that's only a way to know. Because if you start
Mhm.
too much information, it's also bad in my opinion. So just go, enjoy, and see how it goes. And if it's not for you, you will feel it really soon. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. More action, less research sometimes because you
Yeah,
can definitely overthink the process and years will go by and you still haven't even gone,
yeah,
right? And there's ways to do it so that you enjoy it, but you learn that over time. Because the first trip that you take, you might not have fun. You might be eating an apple in your hotel room the whole time,
yeah. That's
right?
it. That's it. But that's the beginning. You have to start with that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You start with the apple and then you work your way up to the dinners with 15 people and the hitchhiking and the going to Uruguay on a truck with your baby, right? So
That's it. That's it. Agree. Completely agree.
it's a snowball effect. Thank you so much for being on. I've enjoyed our conversation. I want to use the last few moments of the podcast to have you tell us what are you working on now? How can we help and get in contact with you, find out more about what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So nowadays, I'm working mainly in travel operation and marketing communications in the travel and event industry, and I also work in brand. I can help anyone with their personal branding. I'm working with several people that are in transition, or they are looking for a new life, professional life in the travel or events industry, to get in deep in this subject, so I can help you out with that. Of course, I'm a guide in Barcelona city nowadays. I'm a licensed official guide in Barcelona. So if you need anything in Barcelona, I'm here for you. I can help you out. We can do an amazing food tour together, a wine tour. And yes, and if you need anything, if you have company or wherever regarding like in the travel industry, I can help you out with travel operations, with marketing communications. So, or if you need any
Oh,
advice, you're planning to travel by yourself, solo, just send me a message.
perfect. A woman of many hats. Yes, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I will link the your LinkedIn onto the show notes so that people can reach back out to you. Thanks again for sharing your story of transformation, of connection, and play with us today. And thank you for the listeners for tuning in to today's episode with Marina. I hope her story resonated with you all and it inspires you to transform your life through travel, make meaningful connections, and reignite your spirit of play. See you all on the next adventure. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Travel Not to Escape podcast. I hope you found our conversation inspiring and insightful. And if you're ready to take the next step in your journey of self discovery through intentional travel, I invite you to join our vibrant and supportive community of solo female travelers over on Facebook. Inside our community, you'll find like minded women from all walks of life sharing their stories, experiences, and tips on how to make travel a transformative part of your life. It's a safe space to ask questions, seek advice, and find inspiration. To become a part of this incredible community, simply search for Travel Not to Escape on Facebook groups, or you can click the link in the episode description. I can't wait to welcome you into our tribe of fearless travelers. Remember, your journey of self discovery begins with that first step, so don't hesitate, join us today, and let's embark on this adventure together. Until next time, keep exploring, connecting, and playing, and safe travels, navigators.